The ATF Director embarrassed a U.S. Senator when it comes to forced reset triggers. And he did it by following the law and the Constitution. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets, coming at you from the Freedom Lair. I just love living in Tennessee. Guys, if you're new here, I talk about the Constitution and the constant assault on our God-given right to keep and bear arms. Today we got a doozy out of the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing that's got Second Amendment supporters everywhere shaking their heads. We're diving into the exchange between new ATF Director Robert Cicada and U.S. Senator Jack Reed from Rhode Island. And this one highlights exactly why we fight so hard against politicians who think their personal opinions and military anecdotes override the actual law and the Constitution. I'll break down 3 key moments and explain the real legal definition of what a machine gun is and call out some ridiculous claims. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, and let's get into this. First off, some context. This hearing ends up discussing force reset triggers. This isn't what the hearing was about, but Senator Reed just thought he would try to stick a quick one in there, and it backfired on him terribly. Specifically, they end up discussing rare breed triggers FRT 15. And for those who don't know, force reset triggers are a clever semi-automatic design that uses the bolt's rearward movement and forward momentum to physically reset the trigger faster than you can do it manually. But it still is reset every single time you pull the trigger. You still have to pull the trigger every single shot. It's not full auto. But anti-gunners hate them because they let skilled shooters put rounds downrange quicker. And here's the quick line of questioning that we're discussing today. Grab a seat. This is fun.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Director Cicada, you've been neglected. I can't let that go. First of all, let me thank you for your, I calculate, 20 years of service in the ATF. And prior to that, as a police officer in New York and Plainville, Florida?
In Plantation, Florida.
Plantation, close enough.
Yep.
But I want to focus on those devices which transform a semi-automatic rifle into an automatic rifle. For many years, the federal government took a position that force reset triggers were, in fact, illegal. And yet there was a case in which, in 2025, the DOJ reversed itself, and they essentially, by their reversal, allowed these force reset triggers to become legal. And all you have to do is buy one, find one, go to YouTube, look at the YouTube. Takes about 2 minutes to put it in the weapon, and now you're firing at about 30 rounds in 4 seconds, which my experience, and I did professionally carry an M16, is that's an automatic weapon. What are we going to do to prevent these type of devices from getting out and raising the threat to the public?
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you for your question. I think just to stay focused on the topic of machine gun conversion devices, they come in all shapes and forms. Some referred to as switches, as they are sometimes put into semi-automatic pistols to convert from semi-automatic to full. Automatic drop-in auto sears for rifles. And ATF has been dealing with an issue related to this for many, many years. The technology has made this proliferate much easier because many of these are either 3D printed now or manufactured in China and shipped to the United States by the container load in some cases. As it relates to the force reset trigger, I'd like to answer that question. That particular type of device was litigated and settled with the Department of Justice not too long ago. I won't be able to comment too much on that specific settlement with the Department of Justice, but it relates to the force reset trigger itself. There are many other types of devices that convert firearms to shoot from semi-automatic to full auto. What we are doing with our partners, state and local partners, our federal partners, and our agents, the devices that have already been determined to be drop-in auto sears, other conversion devices, they remain the same. This settlement relates specifically to the force reset trigger made by Rare Breed.
Yes.
And I think there's a misconception that this applies to all types of trigger packs that are out there that increase the rate of fire that do not operate in the same way that the force reset trigger made by Rare Breed does. So it's a very technical, nuanced matter. And our folks at ATF are asking our partners to initiate with us so we can actually examine these devices to see if they are under that settlement or if they actually fall into the other category.
The Washington Post reported that the ATF's chief counsel, Rob Leader, objected to the settlement and reportedly thought that, quote, the devices are dangerous and the classification as machine gun should stand. Did you or your predecessor object to the finding? Is Mr. Leader's objection sound? He's an expert in the law of machine guns.
Yeah, I think, sir, that this is a matter that Mr. Leiter found to be a very technically nuanced issue in the way that trigger operates. It's a little bit challenging to explain here in this room, but I think if we were able to demonstrate the way they operate as compared to a switch like a drop-in auto sear, there's a clear difference, and I think that's where we found room for the settlement that Mr. Leader participated in.
I would suggest that you're looking at the wrong criteria, in my view, based on, again, carrying an M16. It's the rate of fire. It's not the construction of the sear or it's a trigger effect. And when you have a rate of fire of 30 rounds in 4 seconds, that's an automatic weapon. And I think that's the way you should just characterize your weapons. If you need congressional support, please call me.
If I may, sir, I think I understand where you're coming from, and the rate of fire, unfortunately, is not what the statute defines the machine gun by. So.
Well, we should change the statute. So, thank you very much.
All right, that was good. Let's start here. Director Cicada, in response to questioning, clearly states that under the settlement with Rare Breed, their FRT is the only current approved legal forced reset trigger pack. I think that was key to note. He emphasizes it's a very technical, nuanced matter, and that not all rate increasing devices fall under the same category. He directs partners to examine devices case by case. And that's important because the ATF, under the current administration, is at least acknowledging the law instead of inventing new rules to ban everything faster than a standard semi-automatic. Again, cautiously optimistic. I'm going to point out 3 big observations here. But if you care about the country, if you are a concealed carrier and you love the Second Amendment, watch this.
I was in the convenience store as he was walking out. He was giving looks to my children who are in the front 2 seats driving their parents home, and he started talking to my son. And then as my husband was getting out of the car, he pulled a gun on him and pointed it right at his heart.
My name is Matthew Masucci. So I was involved in a self-defense incident where I had to display my firearm. I was falsely accused of being the aggressor in that situation. I was charged with 4 felonies and arrested as such. Luckily, I came upon the Attorneys for Freedom shortly after hiring them. My case took a drastic turn. They had footage of the external video at the gas station where the incident occurred that proved my side of the story was the truth. That ultimately led to all my charges being dismissed. The Attorneys for Freedom, they were very transparent with me, informative, patient. They do what's best for their clients, and they did what was best for me. And me and my family are grateful for that.
Guys and gals, if you carry a gun for self-defense, the biggest threat you face may not come from the criminal, but from the government trying to put you in a cage for defending yourself. And that's why you need attorneys on retainer in your corner. We're witnessing things in this country that we would never have thought would have been reality. But the one thing we know is we are our own first responders. Attorneys for Freedom is the only national law firm that focuses exclusively on self-defense cases. That's all they do. They're attorneys with principles. It's very, very rare. They're the Justice League. From red flag laws to use of force claims, they're ready to stand between you and a system that's often stacked against gun owners. And Attorneys for Freedom is the law firm that runs the Attorneys on Retainer program. And here's the bottom line. If you can reasonably assert self-defense, then AOR has your back. No caps, no loopholes, no nonsense. Just real attorneys fighting for your freedom in every single state in the union. Doesn't matter where you are in this country, they believe in your right to defend yourself. It's the best team assembled, the best, most aggressive freedom attorneys in the business, and they are who I have chosen to fight for me, my wife, and my children, and our freedom. And that should say a lot, because I just don't throw money at everything. I mean, I've vetted them, I know them now personally, I've broke bread with them. They are my attorneys. And right now, if you use code G&G at the link down below, you'll save $50 off of your one-time sign-up fee for your individual plan and $25 off your one-time sign-up fee for your family plan. And that will run out. That's running through the end of July, July 31st, in celebration of America 250. So if you are interested in saving a little money, but you still want someone to have your back, God forbid you have your own back, join them now. And thank you to the entire AOR and AFF team for being there for every member of this community. Point number one. I told you I have 3 points, right? Point number one. Director Cicada names rare breed triggers as the only current approved legal forced reset trigger pack. And this comes after years of Biden-era harassment where ATF tried to classify these as machine guns. The settlement recognizes reality. These are not converting your rifle into a machine gun. As a strong 2A advocate, I love seeing ATF finally respecting the limits of their authority instead of treating every innovation as a threat to public safety while criminals run around with illegal Glock switches and drop in auto sears. That was huge. They actually said on the record, there's one approved one. So I don't know if other manufacturers are submitting their FRTs for approval, but as of right now, he told you point blank, there's one that's approved. So that's worth noting, I thought. That was the biggest point for me out of that. Big point number two, U.S. Senator out of Rhode Island, Jack Reed. He comes off like a boob. He doesn't like the fact that Director Cicada's answer regarding Congress's definition of a machine gun is the fact. And Reed pushed hard, citing a Washington Post report about internal objections and basically wanted Cicada to treat these as machine guns anyway, like they would have done under Biden. Just make something up and get it done. Administratively, ban this stuff. When Cicada sticks to the law, Reed gets visibly annoyed. And it's classic. Politicians who want bureaucrats to rewrite statutes on the fly because they don't like what Congress actually passed. Reed's whole line of questioning assumes that these triggers are conversion devices turning semis into full auto. But Cicada keeps bringing it back to the technical reality and the settlement. And Reed doesn't want nuance. He wants action against anything that shoots faster. Point number three. ATF Director Cicada visually appeared frustrated with Senator Reed's line of questioning and his assumptions. You can see it at the hearing. Cicada's trying to explain the law, the settlement specifics, and the difference between true machine guns and these triggers. But Reed keeps circling back to rate of fire. And it's clear the director's dealing with someone operating on feelings and military nostalgia rather than statutory text and the history and tradition of firearm regulation in this country. And as someone who spent decades in law enforcement, Director Cicada knows the difference. And you can tell that he's biting his tongue on the ridiculousness there. Or maybe that's just my observation. You tell me down below if you thought the same thing. Now, let's get to the actual definition of machine gun under federal law because it's crucial. It's not whatever the senator feels it is. The definition comes straight from 26 U.S.C. section 5845 Bravo. The term machine gun means any weapon which shoots, is designed to shoot, or can be readily restored to shoot automatically more than one shot without manual reloading by a single function of the trigger. Key phrase, by a single function of the trigger. Not it shoots fast. Not my opinion from carrying an M16 300 years ago. A single function of the trigger. One pull, multiple shots without doing anything else. That's the bright line. Now, force reset triggers require you to actively pull for each shot. The reset is mechanical assistance, but it's still one function per shot. The ATF's own past classifications and the settlement confirm this. And Congress wrote this law this way specifically and deliberately. They didn't say anything that can dump a mag quick is a machine gun. If they had, half of the competitive shooters in the country with lightning fast trigger fingers would be felons. And let's make a little friendly example of Senator Reed's ridiculous claim. He says because a gun can shoot 30 rounds in 4 seconds, that makes it an automatic weapon, simply because of his opinion as someone who carried an M16 professionally in the military. Come on, Senator. Like, carrying an M16 doesn't make you the arbiter of constitutional law or statutory interpretation. In fact, the fact that you spewed that makes your interpretation of constitutional law very suspect, because you don't know jack splat. And that doesn't change the text of 26 U.S.C. 5845 Bravo. By your logic, Senator, a highly skilled shooter and a standard semi-automatic AR with a fast trigger finger who can mag dump in similar times is also running a machine gun. I mean, my personal friend Jerry Michalik or any other top competitive shooters could embarrass that rate of fire with iron sights and a bone stock trigger. Does that make their guns automatic? Of course not. It's dangerous thinking. It turns the law from objective, single function of the trigger, into subjective, whatever feels scary to a politician. Rate of fire has never been the legal test. If it was, we'd ban every semi-automatic because a good shooter can outpace a slow full auto in practical terms. Reed even says we should change the statute when Cicada correctly points out that the rate of fire isn't the definition. At least he's honest about wanting to rewrite the law instead of enforcing it, right? When they tell you who they are, believe them. Rhode Island, time to make a change because you put a good one in there. Look, as always on this channel, I come from the point of view of a strong Second Amendment advocate and a supporter of the United States Constitution. The founders did not give us the right to bear arms. In fact, it's pre-existing. They secured it, they recognized it, and they didn't say only when it's convenient or when politicians approve the rate of fire. Shall not be infringed means what it says. Tools like force reset triggers enhance the defensive capability of the modern militia. And that's you and me, the people. The real threats are illegal machine guns in the hands of criminals, often using parts smuggled in from China or 3D printed. But instead of focusing enforcement there, guys like Senator Reed want to go after you and me, law-abiding Americans who have devices that were innovated within the law. The ATF has limited resources. They should be going after the actual criminals who are converting pistols illegally with switches, not harassing companies like Rare Breed who won in court and has a settlement. This hearing is a perfect example of why we need judges who interpret the text, not activist bureaucrats, and why we need real legislators who respect the Constitution instead of trying to regulate around it, a la Senator Reed. The bottom line here is this. We heard it right from the director. Rare Breed's FRT is legal. The definition is clear. Senators do not get to redefine machine gun based on their service stories. Support companies that push back on this stuff, guys and gals, and contact your reps and your senators and tell them to stop the nonsense. What do you guys and gals think? Is Senator Reed way off base? Drop it in the comments. And if you want more breakdowns like this, smash the like button. Share this with all of your friends, especially range buddies who might actually use FRTs. And subscribe to Guns and Gadgets for more no BS Second Amendment context. Until next time, stay safe, stay armed, and stay free. And remember, the Second Amendment isn't a suggestion. I'm Jared. This is Guns and Gadgets. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.